Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a new week and there is nowhere else to be than on the Jasiri table waiting for the updates that we'll be giving you because that's what we did with the entire weekend. I want to believe. But before we get into that and before I assume, ladies, how was your weekend?
Where should we start from? Why me?
Was it
I'm referring to you. I always refer to you.
Yeah, because you actually think you have something on me. Because
no, it's French. Not. Can we just listen?
How was your weekend?
French? Okay, thank you very much for that question.
That's why your brooch is upside down.
That's how your weekend was.
No, Coco is back. So she's back in her mommy mode. So she thinks that, she can mother all of us on the table.
Answer the question, please.
My weekend was eventful. I need to say that. I was on set all Friday, all Saturday. I was on set on Friday. After the show, I went straight. And my weekend too was still busy because I had to drop the kids back in school.
Said I was upset.
And Rolla see me, I see you, what you did. When you come back, I'll kill you.
Wow.
I'm just warning you. I won't kill you literally, but I'll show you. They broke my big vase and they actually hid it.
They didn't try to super glue it. I super glued things and then I would hope that somebody else would break them.
I'm telling you, I was just so livid this morning when I
make them work for it. What's the value of the vase?
That vase should be about, let's say,
now
75.
Make them work for it.
Now.
Yes, that was what
they need to work off. No, when they come back, they will work off the value.
Oh, they have to.
They will work off the value.
I gave him all
they don't
the
have
money people gave him for his birthday. I even gave it to him.
Broke
my
little
own
besties.
Friend. Oh, he was so painful, Rolla. Thank you.
Catherine, how was your weekend?
The weekended. School starts today. Shout out to parents who do everything for, to make sure that kids, because the roads are full, it's full with little human beings. Children are happy to go back to school. The ones who have the new school bags and
I was gonna say that
new
every school bag,
it's so
new
sweet.
bottles, and you know those things are super pricey.
Yes.
New bottles, new lunch bags, new shoes, oh my goodness, everything.
And you want to show people that, blessings, you used to do that in school. See my new.
Did you see my new bag?
Not necessarily, because I wasn't the one who always had new bags.
But did they show you?
Admire new bags?
But we're grateful for that. So my weekend was good. The fam is back, so the house is no longer quiet, but they came back sick. So I'm surprised. I'm surprised I don't have whatever Korede has right now. I've never seen a human being bring out so much phlegm in the past 3 days.
The weather change can actually be.
She has just been it comes out. I'm just getting like,
no, I think you should keep her away from school for a couple of days.
Yes, so we're keeping her. I've let the school know and everything. She was begging me, I have to go to school. If I don't go, one day I'm going to write this. I'm like, it's just one day. But now if I tell her tomorrow, we have a problem. And then the Monday started off really nicely until I went to the fuel station. Queues have really gone down.
You finally went?
I don't know how that fuel last. Oh, I know how. I parked the car in the office last week. So I left it so I could pick them up. So somehow that fuel I bought. So at 2 bars left, my fuel was 57,000. So a full tank for me is going to be over 60,000. So I was on the phone. I kept looking. It was going. I was on the phone. My friend, I said, "Wait, shine. Hold on. What?" I just kept seeing
I'm telling you.
From what was it before?
I bought 30.
So usually before it'd be like just 31, 32.
Yeah.
Now it's over 60.
Yes, so I bought 30K 2 times. I think on Thursday I was so happy to tell you that we were able to get fuel. So on Saturday I just saw some guys saying they were going to buy fuel off the set. I was like, can you buy for me? They said NNPT. I just gave them another 30K. So at least I have.
See, really, if people show up for you this period, if they come to your house when you invite them, if they show up for your events, if they just come to check on you, please appreciate them. It's not easy. It's money they're using to get to you. And that's his love. That's genuine, real love if they show up for you. Yeah. Please. I heard that.
I agreed.
Blessings, finally, before we move on.
Oh, my week was fun.
Weekend, we didn't say week.
She didn't want to start from her birthday.
No.
She did not invite anybody.
The whole of the week into the weekend was actually fun. For the first time, I enjoyed my birth week. It was like a birth week celebration. I loved it.
And that's the end of Solomon Grundy. She's not saying anything.
End of Solomon Grundy.
She did go to a very expensive restaurant to eat.
Yeah, I said that. I went somewhere to eat. So I was celebrated there.
Okay, so when you went there to eat, did you see how much was paid for or what you ate? And how did that?
I did see, honestly. I'm the kind of person that likes to be considerate.
Yeah.
When I go out to eat. But for some reason, what I ordered was not what I liked, so I had to go for something else. And because let's just leave it at that.
Yeah,
let's leave it at that. Okay, so as we leave that at that, we're going to move on with the show. We do have a lot happening with Jasiri today. We have a lot of things to tell. It's Money Matters today.
Yeah.
Money Matters that will probably upset a lot of people who are watching. But in the meantime, we definitely know we want to say congratulations to a number of people who are making Nigerians proud in every single way they can. You know that the Paralympics have been on, and we've been seeing a lot of Nigerians continue to make Nigeria proud. We previously appreciated, yes, we did, and now there's somebody else who is also adding to that.
I think we also want to congratulate Bose Omolayo. I like it, Yoruba descent, who won a 6th medal for Nigeria at the Paralympics, where she took the silver medal for women's up to 79 kg powerlifting. It seems our Paralympians are really making us proud.
They very much are. They very much are. So, ladies, that's it about the weekend and touching base with a few other things. But what comes next is something I'm not sure we are all particularly ready for. Can we imagine an agency in Nigeria spending some 300 million naira on keke, street lights, and one or two other things? But you would probably think it's an agency whose business that was. Now imagine it's the agency, the news agency of Nigeria. What's their business with keke and streetlights and boreholes? We're going to head to Edo State first because I just teased what we're taking after the break. But now let's head to Edo State quickly, where the state's First Lady, Betsy Obaseki, has seemingly replied Adams Oshiomole's comment on her being childless. Mrs. Obaseki said that being fruitful is not limited to childbearing, but also impacting lives and creating positive change in the society. Now, while addressing Edo women in the diaspora on a Zoom meeting on Saturday, she advised them that God created everyone for a purpose. She said, and I quote, "My words of comfort to you, like myself, who have conceived and experienced miscarriages, painful stillbirths, and evacuation of babies who died in my womb, is that everyone was created by God for a purpose. Women can fulfill God's purpose in many ways beyond motherhood." Man. So if you guys remember, this came from Upper Weekend, where she had made a comment about her party's candidates, the PDP's candidates in the Edo governorship elections coming up, talking about the fact that he was the only candidate who had a wife, Then, of course, Adams Oshomole replied, talking about their candidate had children, who one the doctor, a lawyer, and everything, and the children were on the trail. And then he talked about the fact that the Obasekis did not have children, and that people who are often childless choose to adopt, and that they're childless. It just became nonsense. It was a mess
it became
in the long run.
So there were so many reactions.
What pains me about her reply is that something that is very personal to her and her husband, she's now had to sort of use it to reply. Because last week we spoke about the fact that we don't know what they've gone through. 50% of couples often struggle to conceive the first time.
Yes.
A large percentage of first-time pregnancies actually end up in miscarriage. Yeah. And then a lot of people don't even know about something called secondary infertility, where people have one child and they struggle to have a second. There's so much going on around the conversation of conception. And now she's had to come out and speak about the fact that she had stillbirths, she had miscarriages, she had to have evacuations.
Because babies died in her womb.
Because babies died.
Yeah, and and that's the thing about getting low and getting dirty. People say, yes, it's politics, so she shouldn't have started in the first place. Still, if somebody started something, it doesn't mean the onus is on you how to respond to it. But we all know that our dear comrade is,
so the thing is, I mean, I'm even happy with the way she responded. It wasn't like she's no longer throwing jabs, right? Like, she's responding, and I realized that she's now doing what Lolo said from the beginning.
Exactly.
They understand, like, she understands politics. Now I can say that she does. I know that it's quite personal, but this is the time to make it play in your own favor, right? So if anything, she has generated that empathy, because she didn't need to say all those things.
Yeah, I keep telling them. I said, if Nigerian politicians if they listen, they would know that there are some things that in politics you spend money on, and that is your PR department, because there are many things that they need people to be able to spin right, to get the right response. But because our government do not seem to really care about how the people feel, so spinning a story to favor them might not really matter to them. There's a way you can sell something so bad that you will spin it so good that the people will just eat it and they won't even see the error of what you're doing. The way she's going, I can tell you there is no woman that will not feel empathy towards her.
And
that can actually sway an election.
We said it here when we said it can swing in her favor.
Yes.
Not her directly or her party.
Yes, as in their party.
Yeah.
But do we really, no, I come back to that. Lola, I understand what you're saying. Swing doctors, the PR machine, make it work and make it drum up this emotion and empathy and everything. But the candidate himself has not actually said anything in support.
Have you seen
or maybe we haven't heard because it's been a long
candidate saying anything.
It's been a long campaign trail.
Yeah.
I would have expected this was also an opportunity for the candidate to stand with women, to re-emphasize the same way she was trying to make Edo women feel about the fact that he's married and he has a wife and a first lady of the state. Having a wife with the governor would mean that Edo women would be somewhat prioritized or would not at least be marginalized. I would expect that he himself in a political terrain would find a way to ride on this situation, to speak up, unless we've missed it and it hasn't been carried by the press. Because let's remember, Betsy is not the one running. Betsy Obaseki is not. Oshiomhole is not the one running. The people who were running had an opportunity to come out. Oshiomhole's candidate had an opportunity to come out and distance himself from this. Betsy Obaseki's candidate has an opportunity to come out and ride.
There's so many theories to go with. Maybe, like you say, it's a long campaign trail, and
we may have missed his comments on it.
Probably, yeah. They made comments alluding to this or addressing this, but I also feel that at this moment, let our sponsors speak for us. It's not maybe to come and further dirty the issue or further soil it or further push this. Maybe it's an understanding with
and you know that during campaign, there's a lot of guidance, a lot of hand-holding.
But there's also a lot of misspeak because it's even the APC's candidate yesterday. Was it yesterday or sometime this weekend that said, we will give you insecurity. I don't know. What are you saying?
No, but Tolu, I know sometimes it sounds like it was just a goof. But sometimes you're wondering that some of these things make you feel as if that's what's in their heart. And you just make that expensive mistake on
just weeks before voting.
I don't want to believe that
you're going to give us insecurity.
I don't think that that's what is in their heart. I don't believe that anybody would want to. Maybe they would not intend to address it, but I don't think that they would want to give insecurity.
And of course, I know that everybody spins stories to their own. You know, there was this funny, I think like a folk tale that every time he wants to tell an untruth, the truth in the heart comes out. It's like Pinocchio's situation.
Pinocchio's nose growing every time.
So as you want to say, I will give you security, that is it, no, that's not what you wanted to say.
Give you security.
Oh, Nigeria.
But wait, I would love to see that scenario. Think about what Lolo just talked about now. A situation in which as soon as you say you're running for candidacy, either your nose turns red when you're telling a lie or your nose grows when you're telling a lie. Nigerian politicians will run.
You will not find anyone to run for president. There's a loophole. Well, they have spokespersons. So
whoever is speaking for you, as long as it's affiliated to the campaign, their nose turns red or it blows like Pinocchio.
Our politicians will be picking apples off their noses.
My head of media will address.
Head of media will be thinking.
But you know that that's another strong part. That's another strong thing that we have as Nigerians. We know how to ride on technicalities. Well, I didn't say this. I said this. So I said we would address the issue. I didn't say we'll solve it. We would address it. Oh my God.
It's a lot.
It's time to go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be analyzing the irregularities of the 2024 budget with Ayomide Lapido, the head of Tracka. And that's a conversation that you sure don't want to miss, so stay with us.
Don't forget you can be part of our conversations on social media. We are at News Central TV. Now, let's get into this. Nigeria's 2024 budget was presented as the budget of renewed hope. But with the year almost rounding up, many are wondering where the hope has been this year. 27.5 trillion naira was initially proposed, while 28.7 trillion naira was passed by the National Assembly and signed by the president. But as it has been in previous budget exercises, controversy swirled around allocations and more. And that controversy has continued as some interesting things have come to light. For example, what could the news agency of Nigeria need 300 million naira for? The last thing anyone would think is that it would be for the agency to buy and distribute kekes in Abia, renovate schools in Bayelsa, and install streetlights in rivers. Yeah, you heard me right. We need to make it make sense, make this equation make sense. And today there is someone who's going to try and make sense of all of this. Ayomide Lapido, head of Tracka, which is a project under Budget Nigeria, joins us now, and it enables citizens to collaborate, track, and give feedback on public projects in their communities. Ayomide, welcome to Jasiri. It's so good to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Tolu. It's nice to be here as well.
All right.
All right, Ayomide, let's just jump right into it because this is a very interesting conversation and I cannot wait for us to unpack it. Ayomide, the news agency of Nigeria spending 300 million naira on kekes, schools, and street lights. This might shock and surprise some people. It's shocking me. But that's not all that raised eyebrows in this 2024 budget. There are some other questionable expenditures your deep dive into the budget did find. Can you please elaborate on some of these things that you did see?
Okay, thank you very much for that. Tolu was saying that I'll try to make sense of it. We're all here to tell Nigerians that it does not make sense. Yes. So there's a video that's been going around that we did that talked about the National Space Research Development Agency, which is an agency that is supposed to advance our innovations and technological things to enable us move the needle, maybe going to space and all sorts. And then you look at their budget, the capital projects in their budget for 2024, and you find things like supply of metal dustbins for cleaning and sanitization in communities in Oyo State. You would find training of traditional rulers on peace and conflict resolution. At the third one, you would find purchase of Elox vehicle for campaign against unwanted pregnancies.
Wait, Ayomide. You said this is slowly. You said this is under the National Space and Research Development Agency. Money for traditional rulers, buses, and then campaigning against pregnancy?
Unwanted pregnancies. Vehicles for campaigning against
unwanted pregnancies.
Sorry. Okay, continue.
It is highlighted in the budget. It is highlighted in the budget like that. I'm not mincing words, or I'm not paraphrasing or anything. That's how it is. You'd have a Cocoa Research Institute who is constructing street lights. There's a particular one that we have definitely decided to flag, which is SMEDA, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agencies of Nigeria, which has 5 billion naira to purchase vehicles for traditional rulers in Nigeria, 5 billion naira. Then there's another 1.2 billion naira under this SMEDAN to purchase security vehicles. And it's confusing. Is it security vehicles for the agency itself? Why does Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency need security vehicles and even need 1.2 billion naira for security vehicles? We don't understand. Then this same SMEDAN also has a total of 1.2 billion naira for provision of medical outreach in communities in Kaduna, in Bayelsa. Well, in what capacity does the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria have to be executing medical outreaches? And especially at a time where you have a lot of small businesses are suffering, there's a need for interventions and all that. And you see that the capacity of these agencies, where they're supposed to be focused on their mandate, are being split into I'm looking for the right word to use, things that do not even match at all. And the issue that we now begin to see is that, one, they cannot fulfill their mandates, which means that we are wasting taxpayers' money to fund them, to pay their personnel salaries, to pay all these things. Two, they do not now have the capacity to execute these projects. Now means we are even losing money in another way, because they would most likely execute the project in a terrible manner. They don't have the technical capacity. What technical capacity does SMEDAN have to execute medical outreaches? How will they know if the contractor that they decide to finally bring on board to do the project, if the contractor does terrible job or tries to swindle them, how will they, in what capacity will they have to know? And so you see testament of all these kind of irregularities in how our funds are being used. You see a school that has been constructed that is breaking down in less than 6 months. You are not going to build your house and your house is going to start breaking down in 6 months. So why do we spend a lot of money to construct infrastructure that cannot even last a year? You see this kind of things. When National Space Research Development Agency is constructing schools, is constructing town halls, we are just bleeding money.
All right.
And now, to the crux of the matter, which is what is responsible for all this? We have come out to say that it is the National Assembly. National Assembly is supposed to review the budget after the MDAs have submitted them. See that whatever they've submitted.
Ayomide, let me, because you've said a lot in the first, in fact, as soon as you opened your mouth, we in the studio were saying, what was that? What was that? So it's a lot, but like I said, I don't want to digress. I have my question I want to ask you. I don't want to digress, but I just have to ask this question. Should we as Nigerians be surprised that these have made it into the budget? Some of it has been described as insertions. There's also community projects, which are often at the center of these controversies. My question now, in this instance, would be that, how do these insertions make it into the budget? Is this a systematic issue, or there's something bigger that we don't see?
Thank you very much. It's a very critical question, which I was almost getting to. And I would like to first clarify something. We've seen a lot of people say, oh, maybe these projects are CSRs. No, these projects are funded from the national purse. It is not CSR. The only agencies that can carry out corporate social responsibilities are agencies that are self-funded, government-owned enterprises who make money, then can decide to use some part of their revenue for that. And even their CSR activities, you will not find it in the national budget. So these projects, they are being funded by your money, my money, and everybody's money. That's for it to go out of the way. Now, how do these projects make it into the budget? You can spot a pattern. If you go on the Budget Office website today, you would find the proposed budgets. And the proposed budgets are what each agency submitted for review to the National Assembly. And you will find the approved budget. Most of the times, all these irregularities, you will not find them in the proposed budget because, of course, an agency like the National Space Research Agency cannot come and put purchase of metal dustbins and now go and defend it on the floor of the National Assembly. It does not even make sense. It will look like they don't know what they're doing. So you will find sanity when you look at the proposed budget. But between what is proposed and what is approved, then you would find all sorts of irregularities. And then what is the common index that has happened between what was proposed and what was approved? What happened? The National Assembly. Now, the National Assembly is supposed to review and checkmate whatever the executive has done to ensure that, it goes with the standards, they are going to spend our money judicially and all that. But they are now the biggest culprits of these budget misappropriations. And there's still the jury is still out on, does the Senate have full appropriation powers for them to be able to remove and insert and remove whatever they see in the budget? They are not supposed to have those powers, but because it's not expressly stated, so it's still a lot of back and forth. Anyways, what we have seen is that senators or House of Rep members who are members of or who are chairs of some particular committees use that influence to insert these projects in the agencies where they have influence. And you have some of them make the excuse that, I want to be able to put my projects where I can control. You're a legislator. Your work is not to be influencing social projects. Your work is clearly outlined in the budget. Let the MDAs do their job. So, for instance, this National Space Research Development Agency, the Senate Committee on Chairman on Space is from Oyo State. And you look at all the irregularities under this agency, a lot of them are from Oyo State. It was the senator that recently died in June, may so rest. Anyways, so you can easily draw the line. You see maybe the House Committee Chair on public ombudsman or public complaints. You see a lot of their projects under the Public Complaints Commission. And so it is the National Assembly members simply misusing their powers. And also now, there's another thing. You have the 100 billion naira, annual 100 billion naira meant for constituency projects, which we understand that the National Assembly members have some sort of oversight over. But now they have gone beyond having oversight in the constituency project to now having oversight in the capital projects, which are supposed to be solely independent and handled by ministries, departments, and agencies. So now you will see a lot of projects in the capital project did not used to have empowerment projects or all these kind of irregularities before. Now you will see a lot of it. They have infiltrated, if I use that word. And
Ayomide, just very quickly, because we are on this National Assembly, and I know that we have been harping on them a lot. I just want to know, what is the extent of their powers? Because if we're talking about insertions, is it that they are constitutionally empowered to do that? Or this is just arbitral, whatever they're doing, just to, because they have the power to do it? What is the extent of their power to be able to just make changes on a budget proposal? Because I'm a bit worried about that.
And then what's even the point of the National Assembly then?
A very good question that we should all be asking, and all Nigerians should be asking. Now, the extent of their powers. Now, while it does not say that what they are doing, it does not necessarily. The Constitution does not state that they have the powers to insert or remove, and the Constitution does not also say that when they do it, it is illegal. So it is now a gray area where everybody is left to grasp for straws that, oh, what can they do, what can they not do? And this is part of all the constitutional amendments that people are pushing for, because there's a lot of gray areas in the way we manage our public finances in Nigeria that institutions have been taking advantage of, because it does not expressly state that this is illegal and also does not say that this is legal. So there's a lot that you can get away with.
Okay, Ayomide, just very quickly before we go for our break, how dangerous is the work that Tracka does? I asked this because on Sunday, the organization posted that you had received numerous threats from aides of Yaya Bauchi Tongo, representing Gobe, Kwame, and Funakaye federal constituency, because you asked for updates on his projects in the 2024 budget. So think about spreading this out. You guys are around the country asking for citizens to be active and try to hold senators and House of Representatives members accountable. But then you are also getting this pushback, these threats to the work that your organization is trying to do and trying to follow the money and find out where the money has gone. How dangerous is it for people working with you and even just trying to hold public office holders to account?
Thank you, and thank you for bringing that up. It's actually quite dangerous because we have a lot of people who do not want to see our work gain traction and succeed, because what we do is at the heart of all the problems we have in Nigeria, and the people who are benefiting from these irregularities and these misappropriations, they don't want it to stop. Our state officer in Gombe, she's a woman, Mata. She called me on Saturday, very visibly shaking.
Okay, Ayomide, I don't want to interrupt you, and I think this is a very necessary point you're going to make. This story you're about to share about the tracker who works in Gombe. So we'll get into that after the break. Just hold on. We'll continue this conversation, but we'll of course want to know your thoughts on this. So many irregularities and misappropriations in Nigeria's 2024 budgets, and of course the planning for the 2025 budget is on. And at the end, the big question: what can Nigerians do to make a difference within the budget process? Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. This is Jasiri, and if you're just joining us, we have Ayomide Lapido. She's the head Tracka, an organization that works to, of course, hold office to help Nigerians hold public office holders accountable and ensure transparency in governments. Now, Ayomide, just before the break, you were getting into the situation that you're finding in Gombe, and of course, as I said earlier, the organization and the person representing you in Gombe has been receiving threats from aides of Yaya Bauchi Tongo because you're asking, what are you doing? Where is the money? Where are the constituency projects that the money has come out for? So take us through what's happening in Gombe.
So thank you very much for that. On Saturday, our state officer in Gombe State, Martha, she called me very visibly shaking on the phone that, oh, she has to let me know about something that's been happening. The lot she just received for 3 days back to back, she's been receiving calls that, oh, why are they questioning this man, this and that they should tread carefully, or this and this is going to happen. And what happened, as a community champion was at an event, and he was saying that they want to know the projects, the status of the project under Yaya Bauchi that he nominated, and what has happened. And there was a video of that went around, and then you had the aide start calling that who is he that he dares to question the Honorable Bauchi, that are there no other lawmakers in the state? Are there no other politicians? Why was he asking about this particular one? Then Martha tried to defend him, and then the thing escalated. And she of course she could not take it in anymore, and she called me and she explained to me. And I said, okay, we'll look into this. And even after we decided to look into it, and I saw that this was a real threat that we should not take lightly. And that's why we decided to put out that call. And beyond putting out that call, we're also going to send a petition to security agencies that we must not hear any issue of anybody being harmed. Nobody must be harmed, and nothing must happen to any of our officers for simply asking questions that they should be asking.
Thank you for that, Ayomide.
All right, so Ayomide, staying on this National Assembly matter, staying on the misappropriation conversation, bottom line is that it is a money conversation. These are monies that could be put to better use elsewhere. So in your opinion, how much do you think we have lost due to misappropriation and misallocation of funds with these kinds of situations?
Thank you. I would most likely not even talk about the financial loss. Most as somebody who goes to the field, who sees that for every project that is not done, or for every project that has been poorly done or abandoned, it is the cost of a human life. That's a child not going to school. That is that's a woman not having access to healthcare. Someone dying. You see roads that are bad, accidents and all that. So what time we even did a project of what is the cost of abandoned projects? They're actually human lives. And we're not even thinking about it in terms of cost, because for every basic amenity that you and I are supposed to have access to, that we do not have access to, we have to pay out of pocket for it. Yes. And there are a lot of people who are not as privileged as you and I on this call right now, who cannot pay out of pocket for it, and they suffer heavily for it. So even the cost of these things are Nigerians who their lives are being eroded, the quality of their lives dwindle, and a lot even lose their lives on it. And that's what I can speak on. I can't necessarily quantify it in trillions. Of course, it will go in trillions and billions that have been diverted into pockets. But what concerns me the most is what me and you are supposed to have access to, that we have to pay out of pocket for every day, and that millions of other Nigerians cannot pay out of pocket for, and they suffer for it.
All right, Ayomide, now it's like there are different parties to this, right? So the presidency submit these bills, which of course eventually has all these inserts, and the National Assembly still supposedly vets them and approves them either ways. And then there are the citizens who people have been saying for a long time are not asking for accountability, are not demanding enough. So who do we say takes the majority of the blame?
The National Assembly takes the majority of the blame, because we pay them to prevent this kind of things, but then they are now the biggest culprits. So it now goes back to us as citizens, knowing our power and what we can do with this kind of things. Especially why we have decided to start speaking up now is because the 2025 budget is around the corner, and you have started seeing all this patch planning everywhere and everywhere. A quick story. I know someone who is high up in one of the agencies, and he was telling me that one of his bosses has started calling honorables. Everybody is corporate. I started calling honorables that, oh, you can bring your projects to my agency, and this is what you get for it. You have agencies also lobbying for projects. from National Assembly members to say, okay, you get this, I'll get that. And unpacking it is a whole different level. But then it's high time that as Nigerians, we begin to get interested in the process. Now, the announced the budget proposal, the call for secular, the submissions and all that. We need to stay on it. Now, when they post these things, when the proposed budget is out, everybody needs to scrutinize at that time and watch what is happening on the floor and start calling out their lawmakers. It takes just when things go viral or when there's a conversation that is heavy across the nation, is because everybody is speaking up. If everybody decides to speak up and calls their lawmaker that we must not see any mago, if I'll use that word, any irregularity, any this in the budget on or before it is approved. We have seen these items in the proposed budget. This is what we want to see. This is what you need. We must not see any further insertions. We need to start taking these conversations of ending bad governance seriously.
Yes.
While protests are very important, countries are also still going to run on these governance structures, and we need to know how to infiltrate these governance structures to actually get the proper change that we need to.
Okay, Ayomide, I think it's important to remember that while we all tend to focus on the federal and national budget, there are 36 state governors who submit budgets to state houses of assembly who don't receive the scrutiny that the national budget receives. And many people tend to believe that a lot of state houses of assembly across the country are just rubber stamps for the governor who is in office or the party that is in control of the state. And we hear some really fantastic names. They used to come particularly from Cross River State. The former governor there, Ben Ide, had some really quabbalistic names for his budgets. But in the long run, these are budgets that are meant to impact people's lives. Are we seeing these same very highly questionable allocations at the state level as well?
Yes, very much. They are there. And it's just that, like you said, for advocacy for states and for local government has to be more concise. So I have to look into my own state and fight for my state. You have to look into your own state and fight for your state. At the national level is where everybody's voices doesn't need to be checked necessarily. So you have it in the state budget as well. And we have a website called openstates.ng, where you can go right now and see your state's budget. You can see the implementation report. And we at budget, we also still did an analysis of how these states are spending their funds and how it is being used for. We are also going to release a report in October, which is an annual report called State of States, where we analyze every state's capacity to generate revenue, their debt standing, their capacity to attract foreign investment, and all their other spendings. We have a lot of work to do as Nigerians, and I think we all have the time and the energy too, because if we decide to just take at least, let's say 15-20 minutes out of our day to actually focus on these things, which are the things that will actually turn things around, would actually get results at the state, local government level, and at the national level.
Oh, yeah, because staying on that, state, federal, and local government level, I hear you what you're saying, and I hear some Nigerians who would sit in their corner and say, how does interfering with this bring about a larger change? But my question to you would be that, how does this reflect broader issues? There's budgeting issues, transparency, accountability in governance in Nigeria, because even demanding or asking for accountability seems like your own self is too much. So where are we with that? How does it trickle down? How does the ripple effect cut across budgeting, transparency, governance in general?
Thank you for that. And I would maybe like to put on for instance, the subsidy, which everybody can understand. The subsidy and also the I'm looking for the word. The harmonization of our currency. I've forgotten the word. Anyways, so the subsidy that was removed, it was removed because largely, very well on paper, Nigeria could not afford it. Our revenue could not pay for subsidy anymore. And then we had a president who said that he wanted to channel these subsidy funds into national development. And what does national development means? In terms of what it means to you and what it means to me, is basically one, social amenities, also basically our ability to afford good standard of living. And now, 1 year after, we see that the subsidy has returned, twice what it used to be. And at what cost will that be? It will still be at the cost to our own national purse, which we don't have. Then two, we talk about the president buying a yacht. There was a picture that was going about yesterday about the governor of Zamfara State having BMW 2025 in his convoy. You have the president buying a new casket, the VP's house being built. Those things are not built in a vacuum. They are my money and your money, that they are rightly in the budget. When we were talking about this yacht discussion, it was in the budget. If you look at all these VP's residence, it's in the budget. There's no execution of anything that the government does that is not in the budget. The payment of the minimum wage, it has to be in the budget. Is in the 2024 supplementary budget. So every expense that they have the capacity, every expense that they misappropriate has been in the budget. And this is how you see these monies that are being misappropriated. Of course, you can spot from a mile why is NAN distributing keke motorcycles. You know that it's not going to get where it's supposed to get to. And when it gets back, whose pocket does it get to? And who is now being deprived of the services they are supposed to get. So for us to pay attention to all these things is us that, one, we are getting deprived of something, and it goes into the pocket of those people that steal. And that's why you see politicians living large while we are suffering.
Yeah, Ayomide, so looking ahead, because this is something everybody really needs to focus, very, very important to focus on. We know that we are almost rounding up the year. We have entered the last couple of months. 2025 is upon us. And of course, the budget is being prepared. Or cooked.
Oh, my God.
Or inserted. And whatever medical procedure the budget is going on, whether they are removing...
It's being operated on.
It's being operated on, abortions, D&C, everything is going. Or maybe cancers are being removed.
Implants
are being done.
Our budget must be doing BBL.
BBL, there's so much. But these things will laugh, but they're not funny.
At all.
Because some of these things are right before our face, because they believe that Nigerians will not look critically at them. But now that we are putting a spotlight, I'm sure when we're done with this show, a lot of people that are watching will probably be going on the website like, are you kidding me? Is this really something? Before they were drawing a cloud over our eyes, what can Nigerians do? Because we want this to be out there. Let everybody be questioning. If we're questioning on the federal level, let everybody be questioning on the state level. Before they say they are giving the Yaloja money for broom, because the market needs to be well swept. And those are things that they have to provide for in the budget. What can Nigerians do with all this knowledge?
Thank you. I'm going to be very practical. Is something that, I think the Bible says something about take it by force or something. And it's not because I said that they should remove anybody. And what I mean is that when the 2025 budget comes out, of course, the media is going to announce it. Everybody, thankful to you and all your other partners in the space. We're going to talk about it. Now, it's left for Nigerians to look into it. And it's not too much if we decide to protest the National Assembly that you need to remove these items. You need to do this and do this and do that. We need to start executing our civic rights in terms of these things. When we have a protest to say that, we should end hunger, how exactly are they going to end hunger? They are going to be like, there has to be practical things to be done. So these are the times that we can actually exercise our civil rights to say that, okay, we are going to sit in front of the National Assembly until Godswill Akpabio. The last time there was an issue around Senator Godswill Akpabio insulting another senator, where pressure was put on him. He came out and he retracted his statement and apologized. It shows they listen, they hear everything, they hear all the public outcry. And when we can decide to take it a notch further, beyond, we would do online campaigns and shout online, and everybody will put our attention on it. Beyond doing that, to actually say, if you do this, if you do not do this, we are not going to let you continue. And they know that they need the public goodwill. We saw the government running around every helter-skelter just because they heard that people were going to exercise their civil rights. Why? Because they know that the people is important. The people are important to the business. So we need to start waking up and decide that we don't have to, it does not have to be because, I know it is simplistic, or because we are buying bread at 5,000 naira per loaf. Sorry, excuse me. Because we are buying bread at 5,000 naira per loaf, that's when we will now step out on the street. We need to step out on the street now. For things like this, so that we don't buy bread at 5,000 naira per loaf.
My sister, I hear you. And I thank you, Ayomide Lapido, for joining us on Jasiri for today. We have been talking on the money conversation, and you've given us a lot to think about. Food for thought, wherever it is that we are. Yeah. Closing our eyes and saying it's not my portion doesn't cut it anymore. This is Jasiri. Ayomide, thank you so much.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll be heading straight into hot topics, where a young girl took to social media to tell the story of the biggest regret of her life. Was this a plot all along? Was this a case of negligence on her own part? Stick around to find out. We'll be right back.
I put the ladies on the spot because I asked, should we go into a hot topic, or is the aftermath of the conversation with Ayomide a hot enough topic for you ladies?
I think that is a hot enough topic. Both topics are hot.
Both of them are hot.
No, you must hear. Let me tell you what you must hear. Okay, guess who is constructing an FRSC office somewhere in Oyo State for 35 million naira? The Center for Agricultural Mechanization is the one constructing an FRSC office in Orelokpo LGA in Oyo State for 35 million. I'm not done. Wait, don't interrupt me. Wait. Okay, then you have a rehabilitation of an access road in FHA Lugbe in the FCT, 50 million naira. Guess who's doing it? Can you guess? Can you guess? Agricultural Research Institute is rehabilitating roads.
Say that again.
So there's no more federal management agency.
Agricultural Research Institute is rehabilitating an access road in FHA Lugbe for 50 million naira.
Stop, Tolu. You know how you write exams? No, don't read anymore. You know how you write exams, and you're just looking for an answer, multi-choice questions. Yeah. And they say, what is the definition of this? And you're just putting a random, it is D. You're not even looking at whether D tallies with the question.
Sorry, the FRSC,
you're saying
the
thank
Federal
you.
Road Safety?
Yes.
Something about
and who did you say?
Agriculture Agency is doing Federal Road Safety Commission.
Center for Agricultural Mechanization is constructing an FRSC road in Orelokpo in Oyo State.
Please tell me how that has anything to do with
you know this is, can I tell you some more? I have to. No, guys, I have to tell. God. No, today, this is the topic that is hot. All right, so 2024 capital projects under National Center for Agricultural Mechanization based in Ilorin. 150 million naira. What are they doing for? Wike Road extension in Port Harcourt, River State. Then there's another 150 million naira. They're doing another road extension somewhere in River State. There's another 100 million. There's another 100 million. Are you following me? There's a 1.5. You can see it on your screen. There's a 1.5. I want to be sure. Yes, that was 100,000 million. 1.5 billion. Construction of solar street light somewhere in Bayelsa. There's a 120 million. Provision and installation of solar street lights in communities in Adamawa State. So 10 million. Again, this is under capital projects for the National Center for Agricultural Mechanization.
And so when you ask questions, when we keep
saying that all these agencies are bogus. If you collapse some of these agencies because they have no work, they have no job they are doing.
They
need them to siphon funds. Exactly. These are the things, but these are part of why we're hemorrhaging money.
You see, we need to do what you see. We need to come correct as Nigerians. It's one thing to say it doesn't concern me, but when you hear figures like this, you begin to be shocked and say, God, in this Nigeria, yes, it is.
Blessings is physically present. She's mentally out.
So you gave an exam analogy, right? Do you know what is coming to my mind? Imagine us writing exams and people are arguing, no, the answer is 2, the answer is 3, and your own answer is John the Baptist. That's what's happening in
exactly.
exams.
John the Baptist.
Doing what does not even concern Ilori.
How can that be cultural?
I don't understand it.
And I think we need to remember a very valid point that Ayomide made. Even though, at this point, given how long we've been doing this since the Fourth Republic came into being, constituency projects began under former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and they've continued for a while. It's not just constituency projects, it's a misappropriation, misallocation of funds. We cannot even tally the amount. What is after trillion? Is it zillion? We don't even know what is after trillion. Quadrillion. That is the amount of money we've hemorrhaged. But it's not just about the money we've hemorrhaged. It's about the lives we've lost. Yes. Because this is a primary healthcall center that has not been built. This is a teacher that has not been paid. This is a school that has not been built. So all of these things are human costs. How does Nigeria count the cost of its corruption?
It's corruption. It's the lives of the people.
We still cannot track kidnappers because we don't have enough in our defense arsenal to tackle this. We're still negotiating with them. I don't like this.
Meanwhile, security has been taking the top of your budget in the top 2, top 3 for the past several years.
We saw them strolling there.
And then on the other hand, there are people who are eating from these pots and cannot. So they're talking from both sides of their mouth.
It just
and they cannot pick a struggle.
That is it that the presidency and the government in itself cannot feel the pain of the nation.
It's not. It's the people. This conversation continues. Our conversations continue tomorrow on Jasiri. We are wrapping things up. If I have so many people in my ear right now. But thank you so much for joining us from 10 a.m. This is why we said it's a hot topic. The conversation continues, and of course, we'll have Ayomide Lapido back as we continue to dig deeper into Nigeria's budgeting process.
And wait for and anticipate the next year's budget.
And we'll break into that as well. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. West African time. Make it a date. Please pray for blessings. we're trying to... how do you reach John the Baptist from 1+1?